My dream when I started in a estate agency was to become a senior neg. If I could get to be a senior neg, that was going to be a great experience.
Yeah.
Suddenly I was a manager, then I was an area manager, then I was a financial services director, then I was a regional managing director, then I was a managing director. And every day was like, wow, I haven't gone to managing director school. I'm going to a school of life, and what an opportunity I've got. I left school with nothing, and look what I'm doing now. So I reached out to Adrian and said, Adrian, you work with Clive Woodward. I read his book on holiday. You work with him in photocopying. So Adrian and Clive Woodward Sir Clive were at Xerox at the same time.
Oh, really?
I said, do you think he would do a keynote speech at our conference at all at some point, or would do some mentoring with us? And lots of my team that worked with me and my regional team were very sporty, were into that kind of self-development and the culture of team and winning. So there was lots of synergies in there. So he said, well, I found out for you, Russell, you need to talk to his wife, Lady Jane. And so me and Steve Sparrow, I think you know Steve, one day we drove off to Marlow and met Lady Jane in the hotel just as you go over the bridge at Marlow on the left, not Harlow, Marlow on the left-hand side, told us what we wanted to do. She then set up us to meet Clive at the Grove. We met him there. And he came on board and did a winning program for our leadership team. And we went to Pennyhill Park at where the England Rugby train. We did it all there. We did a whole session on going right through what an elite performance looks like. And he said to me, when I once had a coffee with him, he said, what are your struggles, Russell? Because everyone wants to find out what your struggles are. And I said, work-life balance. I've struggled with a work-life balance. And he said, I struggle with that. But what I then did is I made work my life and life my work. I just blended the two, and I stopped wrestling. And I actually found that I haven't got it right, but actually taking that philosophy of I'll just blend the two and, talk to my kids or not. I remember Jackie White, they'd be on the phone. Jackie would be ringing in. I'd be taking them somewhere. They'd all be, hello, Jackie, how are you? And she'd be hello to them. Then she'd give me the weekly figures or whatever it may be. But I'd rather deal with that then and at that moment. And I stopped wrestling with myself.
I think that's such a powerful message, actually, because I've been on that similar journey where, do you remember the Blackberries?
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was an area manager, I was given a BlackBerry and I didn't even want to have an email address. I was so anti-tech and all of those different things. But I remember it ruined so many holidays because I'd be away and I'd find it hard to switch off. And I think there's a lot that I'm taking away just from that blended mindset, which is, first of all, before I answer it, so how did you blend the two worlds? Because you were in a...
Well, I did. I remember the first trip I went to Spain. I went to blended when sort of technology was coming in, and it was you could be faxed anymore or emails. That I remember taking my laptop and a modem and everything and dial up to this villa that we'd borrowed in Spain from a friend of a friend of a friend, and setting up my laptop and setting up the modem, it not working, me getting all angsty, and then thought, actually, no, I just don't need to be doing this. What I'll do is I'll check in twice a day. I just, if you need me, call me, or I'll check my emails twice a day, usually when the rest of the family would be having their siestas, so to speak. Yeah. But I didn't get it right. I still don't get it right now, but I fundamentally try to make sure, one, I tell everybody what I'm doing. I have zero secrets. So everybody knows where I am, what I'm doing, when I'm doing it. And I have an agreement with the franchisees at Rayner Personnel and with a lot of our clients that I will always get back to you within 24 hours. Don't worry, you don't need to chase me, but I'll always get back to you in 24 hours, hopefully sooner. And I find it much easier to clear something off than leave it for someone else to deal with, because
that's a really
often
good point.
It smoulders, it smoulders and smoulders. And I tried lots of different things. My old PA, Sue Mulhall, was fantastic, brilliant at helping me organise. she would take all my emails and put it into a read urgent information file. So running the business that I ran, I would just go and look in the urgent.
And what percentage of your emails were urgent?
Oh, it's very small.
It is, isn't it?
Very small, because we were getting stats and stats and stats and stats. So, and, I've tried to be respectful of boundaries of other people. I really, really try not to trouble anybody when they're away.
Yeah.
And then respectfully, they don't trouble you when you're away. But, it's much easier with 24 franchisees than it is with 267 offices that we had at the peak. But I didn't get it right, Matt. And if Mrs. Jervis was here, she would say...
my wife would say the same. One thing that I did used to do, and I often tussle with this, but coming back to one of your reasons about coming back to, so many emails and everything else, but I used to go away without any tech. 9 years where we'd have an average of 2 or 3 holidays a year, just after I started Gigs & Co, probably 2 years in. And I'd go away and I wouldn't be touched.
Yeah.
It'd take 24 hours, usually 48 hours before everything kind of left your head.
Yeah.
And I used to take a notebook and I'd fill a notebook up. Then eventually I was filling 2 or 3 notebooks up. Most of the time, not actually doing anything with the notes, but it was just a chance to just be creative and download and everything else. But it was a really good thing to do. And it was after COVID, I started slipping back when we started going away again, 2021, 2022. And I often think before I go away, should I take my phone? I'd literally leave everything.
Yeah.
And I'd leave a message and somebody else would take the phone or whatever. And it was a really good boundary to have. However, the thought for 24 hours before coming home was, what have I got to face?
Yeah, the nerves.
Nerves, the butterflies. And then you'd find 600, 700, 800 emails, maybe 2 or 3, which were of any use.
Yeah.
But most of the time, people figured shit out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I've just come back for the last 5 days. When every trip I go on is an experience, whether it be a long weekend in Aldeburgh, it's an experience. But I think for me, there's always been different degrees. We did a tour to the Far East, and I took my phone out to maybe take pictures, but just didn't want to even know what was going on anywhere else. Just trying. But when you run your own business as well, or I treated Spice of Heart as my own business.
I can see that. I can see that with you, that you put your heart and soul into stuff, which is why I was interested about how you managed that across your life. Because when you're an achiever and you're someone that wants to help people, and I want just to go back to one of your points earlier about maybe you give everybody everything, and maybe do you find sometimes that leaves you last in the queue?
Yeah, it did.
It did.
Yes. I'm very much moved myself up the pecking order.